Hello everyone, welcome to our first walkthrough video for Unit 3. This is the green circle walkthrough video. And in Unit 3, we're going to be covering size and scale of objects in our solar system. And then we're going to really focus in on the effects of the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon. So instead of the whole solar system, we'll kind of narrow down to just the Earth, Sun, and the Moon. And then finally, we're going to narrow down again and just look at Earth and how the unequal heating from the sun can determine our weather. So this is why it's the solar system down to the Earth, because with each new section, we focus a little bit smaller, specifically towards Earth. But for the green circle section, we are truly just looking at the different size and scale of objects on Earth and the solar system. So for green circle, I can use a small scale model to compare the size of the planets and their distances from the sun. So let's go ahead and look at the tasks that are all going to be due by February 12th. So the first task, depending on which group you're in. If you're in A and you're here on Monday, we're going to watch an episode called Sisters of the Sun. It's from Cosmos. If you're on a B day, you're going to start with task 2, which is getting the title page done and putting in your learning target checklist page. I've noticed a lot of students are not attaching this learning target and checklist page, and I really want this to be in because you can go back and make sure every task you need to do is completed, and you can see all the learning targets for each section as well. So starting with this unit, if this paper is not in your notebook, you will get a 0 on your notebook check. This is very important to add. If it should be in the packet you have, but if not, you can get a new copy from me in my classroom. So that's task 2, making your title page, and then in the very next page of your notebook, taping in that learning target page. Task 3, you're going to use an online simulation in order to explore how big each planet is. So it's equatorial diameter, right? So if you were to imagine each planet as a sphere, what's the furthest distance from one point across to the other? What's that diameter? I've given you the mass, so how much matter there is in that planet, and then you will also be finding the distance from the sun. To complete this activity, you open up the Worksheet Instructions link, and this brings you to a step-by-step set of instructions on a Google Doc. My recommendation is to read through all of the steps before you even open the simulation. And one that is particularly important, this website kind of seems to randomly assign whether you're using the metric system, which is meters and kilometers, or the imperial system, which is miles. You need to do this in the metric system. So a really, really important step is 5 and 6, where this walks you through making sure that you've selected kilometers and degrees Fahrenheit, simply because that's what we're more familiar with. So make sure you follow step 5 and 6 really, really closely, or else you're going to get the wrong answers simply for having the wrong units. But again, you're going to read through all of these, and then the actual link to the simulation you're going to use is this Solar System Scope website. So that's task 3. Task 4 is looking at what objects are in the solar system. And I've included a drawing that you're going to tape into your notebook. So this is going to go into the very next page of your notebook after this size, distance, and scale. So, right, your notebook so far will go title page, learning target checklist. Very next page is the size, distance, and scale of the solar system. And then the very next page is the what's in the solar system. There's a video that goes along with this, but you need to look closely at this document first. I can tell you that it starts with the sun. So if you click this, it'll make a copy of the document. Same with all of the pictures. So this starts with the sun, and then there's a word bank for everything else that you're going to label. If you see just a circle, that is a single object, like a planet. When you see something that's a curved line, like this one here, and then these 4 objects here, that is something that is essentially a circle all the way around the sun. For this first one is an asteroid belt. There's not a single asteroid that I can draw as a circle in the asteroid belt. Instead, it goes all the way around. And again, for advice here, look at all of the different terms in this word bank and really focus on those in the video. If you just watch the video first, you're not going to know what terms to look for. For example, you might not focus on the heliopause or the termination shock if you are just watching the video before reading this. So read all the words in the word bank, then watch the video to make sure you have everything labeled on this. So you will label all of the words in the word bank on this diagram. Task 5 is to watch a couple of videos that I think are particularly good at showing how large certain objects in our solar system, our universe even, are. And all you need to do while watching these is compose 8 different thoughts. Things that, as it says here, surprised you, inspired you, or made you think. They need to be in complete sentences. So while you're watching these 2 videos, not 8 sentences per video, 8 between the 2, things that surprised you or you thought were really interesting between these 2 videos. They're really well done. And then finally, task 6 is a Google Classroom assignment called If the Moon Were a Pixel. And it shows you the huge distances that there are between the planets. So this is a Google Classroom assignment. If you click your period link, it will take you to the assignment in Google Classroom, where it just says follow the instructions on the Google Doc to complete this assignment, and then turn in the assignment when you're finished. So if you were to open this up, it looks like this. So here's the Google Doc you will actually complete and turn in, and then here's the link to the website that you'll need to complete it. So this is that website, and it starts right here. If the moon were only 1 pixel, a tediously accurate scale model of the solar system, and then it says scroll to explore. Before you ever start scrolling, go back and look at the next step of your instructions. So it says scroll until you see the scale chart and the moon, and then answer the following information. So it says, what's the diameter of the moon? Well, if I scroll to see that scale chart right here, if the moon was 1 pixel, that tiny, tiny white dot right there is the moon. Its diameter is 3,478.4 kilometers. So you would just go in and you would type 3,478.4. So that's the answer for the first one. Next question, this is equal to the distance from New York to where? Well, if you read, it says it's the distance from New York to Las Vegas. So all of the information is in this diagram, and these questions are guiding you towards this. Then step 2 says click the speed of light icon. I show you the picture of what that looks like. And then you're going to watch as you travel to the first planet, which is Mercury. You can see that speed of light symbol is in the bottom right corner. And the question asks you to compare how fast does light actually travel compared to what you see in movies like Star Wars or Star Trek. This link is a video that will allow you to compare that if you perhaps haven't seen either of those movies. So I don't want to make the assumption that you've seen Star Wars or Star Trek, so you can see what light speed looks like in those movies from that video. And then you just keep going. My advice is anytime it tells you to scroll to another planet. So if it says, for example, further down, read all the passages as you scroll from Earth to Mars. Before you start scrolling, what question am I asking? So go down and see the question is, how many feature-length movies could you watch while traveling from Earth to Mars? There's a lot of comments when you're traveling between Earth and Mars. You now know which one you're specifically looking for. It's going to be a comment that talks about how many movies you could watch in the journey, how long it would take to get there in a spaceship. So before you start scrolling, read the question that goes along with that step so you know what particular thing you're looking for. And then finally, there is a little bit of math involved with this. For example, it might ask you to calculate miles to astronomical units or astronomical units to light minutes. It's worth showing you in this that there's different units. So in the bottom where it says, 301,000 or 301,004.5 kilometers, I can change my unit from kilometers to miles to astronomical units. An astronomical unit is the distance from the sun to the Earth. I could go to light minutes. I could go to Earths. I could go to pixels on the screen. I could go to how many buses is it. So you're going to really need to have kilometers, astronomical units, and light minutes are the only 3 you're really going to use. And if I ask a question about light hours, well, there's 60 minutes in an hour, so there's 60 light minutes in 1 light hour. That's a somewhat simple conversion. And you can see I also talk about the hint as well. So when it says how many light hours does it take for the sun to reach Neptune, it says hint, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So once you've answered all of these questions, you're going to, of course, turn it in. If you haven't already showed me your notebook pages, you need to make sure you show all of them to me. If you're in a situation where you can't show them to me in person, you can upload them in Google Classroom. So if I go back to the Unit 3 work here, you'll see Unit 3 green circle notebook check. And it says you can upload pictures here, and you will need task 2, task 3, task 4, and task 5. So you'll need those 4 pictures to receive a score for this assignment. And once you've either shown me the picture or shown me your notebook or uploaded pictures of your notebook, you will then take the level up quiz. Remember, all level up quizzes are open notes, and you must get 100%. You take it over and over until you get 100%, and it is open note. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the blue square walkthrough.